Hello everyone, welcome to Wayne's Paper Crafting. My name is Angel Fitch. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad you've all decided to join me today. Today we're going to do our 5th set of alternatives for the December 2025 paper pumpkin kit called Watercolor and Bloom. Here are the 9 cards that you could have made had you done these as intended. But we're going to change things up a little bit, so let's go ahead and get started. So, if I could ask you all to go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet. I'm really trying to grow my channel and I can't do that without all of you, so I really appreciate you all being here. We're going to start with a white card base that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We're going to give this a good burnish with our bone folder. I've got another piece of white that's 5 by 4 1/4. We're going to use that for the inside. We've got a piece of one of the card bases that I have cut down to 1 3/4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to put that down the front of our card here, just kind of like that. But before we do that, we're going to do some stamping down each side of this. So let's go ahead. We've got this we're going to put our sentiment on. That also came in the kit. So let's go ahead and do our stamping. We are going to stamp in some Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to stamp this little flower here that came in the stamp set that came in the kit. And we're going to stamp this. If I can find the stamp. Here we go. We're going to stamp this little flower piece. So let me put this on a block here, and we'll go ahead and get this inked up. What we're going to do is, basically I want to stamp down each side of where that middle piece is going to go. We're just going to do some random stamping. And it doesn't really matter if we get into the middle piece, and it'll just make it look more random and authentic. So I'm just going to kind of rotate this stamp down each side of our, it looks like we missed the top flower on that one. That's interesting. We're going to leave that be instead of trying to fix it. So we'll just make sure we press all the way on the entire stamp, since it looks like we missed the very top petal. But maybe we'll put a gem there, because you know, all mistakes are just reasons to embellish. Oops. Okay, so let's do here, and we'll do, let's see, down here. Oops. Okay, so I dropped that, but that's okay because that's going to get covered up. So this is what we've got kind of going on that side. So let's do over on the left-hand side. So this kind of looks like we've done this on purpose. Because we have, right? So you can just do random wherever it feels good to you to put your stamp down. And as we know, the middle is going to get covered up, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now if we put this down in the middle, just like that, looks pretty good. And it looks like we've got all the, other than our little mess up there, but that's okay because we're going to put a little gem there, so that it looks like we did that on purpose. Because we did, right? Come on, we did it on purpose. Okay, for the little sentiment piece here, so this is like a square that we're going to use as kind of a diagonal. We've got, let's see, what have we got here that came in the kit? We've got our thank you so much. So let's go ahead and line our thank you stamp and the so much stamp up here together. And then I'm just going to put this on the block. Oops. Put it on the block so that I can stamp it together in the same go round. So we'll ink this up, and we're going to just kind of turn that. We're going to put this down just like this. So we've got thank you so much. And for the inside of our card, we're going to put you make me feel so loved. So I'm going to line that up straight. Block that up. We'll get this inked up. And then we will put this down up here at the top. And just like that. Okay, perfect. Put our ink away so we don't get ink everywhere. Let's go ahead and put our piece of pattern paper here down the middle. Okay, that's our empty one that I need to just chuck. Let me get this. There we go. Okay, so put a little glue on that. We're going to center this up. Again, I'm going to put the darker colors at the bottom just because they feel heavier. I feel like they should be at the bottom. So we'll center this up left to right. And we're going to give this a good push here. Okay, just like that. Let's see, I'm trying to even this up with the two, the top and the bottom. Okay, here we go. All right, so we got that. Now this is going to go here on the front like this. We can actually pop this up on some dimensionals. So we'll put a few of those on here, and we'll give this some height, which just gives our card a little more interest. And we'll get the backs off. Okay. And we'll center that up just like that. Like there. Okay, give that a good press. Now, let's go ahead and get our inside in here. And then we'll get some bling on the outside, and we will be done with this one. This was a pretty easy one. A little stamping, a little piece of pattern paper, and you can make a beautiful card. Okay, so there's the inside. Now, let's see what we're going to do for bling. Let's see. We've got some of these bronze sequins that came in the kit, so I think we're going to use a few of these. So let's take one of these. Oops. Okay, one of these big ones we're going to put right at the top of this flower here to kind of cover up our boo-boo there where we didn't quite get that stamped right. So we'll put that up there, and we'll take a couple other little ones here, and let's see, where can we put these? Maybe one right here and another little one over here. There we go. Too cute. Okay, so that was pretty simple. But packs a lot of punch for something that's simple. So let's move on to our second one. So our second one is going to be, we're going to start with a card base here that is garden green. That is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I give this a good burnish. We've got a piece for the inside that's 4 by 5 1/4. Some bling we're going to use there in a minute. I've got another piece of white that's 4 by 5 1/4 that I have run through the eyelet 3D embossing folder. So I wanted to give this some texture. And that's going to be our first layer here. So let's get it down. Put some glue on here. And we'll open this up. Opening it up helps me just to see better so that I can better center this. Okay, so there's that. So there's our first layer. Now, we've got a couple more pieces of garden green cardstock. So this one is 2.5 by 4 3/4. And I've got a piece of one of the card bases that I've cut down here with the leaves on it. This is 2 1/4 by 4 1/2, and that's going to go in here. So let's get that put down. So we'll center this up on our garden green cardstock. Just, let's see, let's scoot it a little bit to the right, or to the left, I'm sorry. Okay, so there's that. Then I've got this piece of garden green that is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, no, 3 3/4 by 3 1/2. And then I've got another piece of basic white that I also ran through that eyelet embossing folder. And this is 3 1/4 by 3 1/2. And this is going to go in the middle of this piece of garden green. So let's get, this put on like this. So we're going to center that up. Okay, so there's that piece. And then I've got this piece of garden green that I cut using one of the Everyday Essential dies. And I've got a little piece of white that we're going to put down in here after we stamp on it. So this is going to be our sentiment piece. So next we're going to do, let's see, how are we going to do this? Let's see what we want to do here. I think I'm going to do this centered. So I'm going to put some glue on this. And we're going to put it right down here in the middle. And we're going to center it top to bottom and left to right. So that looks pretty good right there. Whoops. Yep. It doesn't move on me. When you're putting this down onto something that's embossed, it takes a minute to actually adhere. So just give that a little bit of time there. And then this piece we're going to take and put in the middle here. So let's get some glue on this. And we will put it right here. Again, centered left to right and top to bottom. So that's going to stick a little bit better there in the middle because we don't have it on all embossed. And then we're going to take our sentiment piece here and we are going to stamp, let's see what we want to stamp here. We're going to use our thank you. So let me, whoops, sorry. Let me go ahead and clean this because I don't want Pretty Peacock into our garden green. So I'm just going to take the thank you and clean it here right quick. Get all that Pretty Peacock off of it. And then we're going to line this back up here on our glass mat and get this back on our block. Okay, and we're going to put that right here in the middle of our little sentiment piece. And we're going to do this in garden green. So let's get our ink out here. And let's Hang on, I got garden green ink all over my hands. Let me just wipe that off so we don't get it all over. Okay, so let's ink this up. We'll line this up on our mat here. And we'll get the thank you down. Hopefully straight. There we go, perfect. Okay, so that's going to go in here. And then for the inside, we're going to do, let's see, what do we want to do for the inside? We are going to do something that came in the kit. If I can find, here they are, the stamps. This one that says, the little things you do for me mean so much. We're going to put that on the inside here. So we will get it blocked up. Like so. Ink it up. And we'll line this up and get this down right there in the middle. Perfect. Okay, let's put our ink away before I get any more all over me. Looks like I have enough. So this will go on the inside. And then we'll get our sentiment piece put on the outside and some bling, and we will be done. So neither one of these was really hard. Okay, this is going to go in the middle here of this green piece. So we're just going to center this up just like that. And then we're going to take a couple of dimensionals and pop this up. So we'll put a couple across here. And we will take the backs off here. Okay, and I'm going to center that right in the middle here. Just like that. Perfect. Okay, last but not least, we've got some bling here that we're going to use. Let's see. Let's use these green, darker green ones here. I think I'm going to use these littler ones though, right here. And we're just going to take a couple and put on either side of our sentiment. So we will put one on this side. Oops. Like that. And another one on this side. And that, I think, will do it. So there's that. Uh-oh. It doesn't want to play. There, come on. Why is it sticking to my finger but not to the piece of paper? Okay, I think, oh, there we go. I'm like, why won't it stay? It just wants to stick to me. Okay, there we go. All right, so there is our 2 cards that we made for today. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. And I will see you in the next one. Have a crafty evening. Bye.